in LA this week.
Not only is this bus itself eco-friendly, but every time they ride the bus, they're making a choice that improves the environment. Rather than taking their car, they are reducing traffic and congestion.
We are standing and speaking and making clear that here in Los Angeles, we do look out for each other.
The same consequences that we see with alcohol-impaired driving can happen when people are distracted behind the wheel.
Hello everyone, I'm Natalia Bilbao, and here's what's happening in LA this week. The campaign against hate crimes gained momentum in Hollywood recently. Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell joined LA City Attorney Mike Feuer and members of the LAPD in the unified message. Hate crimes against the Asian American and Pacific Islander community won't be tolerated.
Hate is the worst of who we can be, but today is the best of who we can be, because we are standing and speaking and making clear that here in Los Angeles, we do look out for each other.
We are here today so that we can have difficult conversations, so that people who have experienced trauma can share their experience of that trauma. And we're here today to show that we have support.
When the Thai man in San Francisco was killed, I really lost my sense of freedom. I was angry that as an American citizen that I can't just walk out the door, go to the grocery store without thinking twice about my safety.
Please don't suffer in silence. Whether you do it by phone or on the street when you see a uniformed police officer or electronically, please let us know what's going on in your community so we can continue to keep Hollywood as safe as it is now.
I am very proud to stand with the Thai community, the AAPI community, in making sure that we seek out hate, discrimination, and assaults from a very ugly place wherever it is found.
We need to say 4 words. No more hate crime. I humbly ask you to repeat after me. No more hate crime. No more hate crime.
In March of this year, the Los Angeles City Council passed an emergency ordinance to require large grocery and pharmacy retailers to offer employees an additional $5 per hour in hazard pay. Most of us know this as hero pay, but there are a few grocery store chains that have responded to the ordinance with announcing the closure of stores. South LA residents and community leaders gathered to voice their concerns about the closures.
Stop the closures now!
Stop the closures now!
Early on during the pandemic, a lot of grocers did the right thing and offered hero pay to their workers.
Now comes to find out that the money for them to pay the $5 increase for the employees has not been paid, and also they're closing down the stores that we need in this community.
In the last surge, they took some heavy hits, a lot of death and illness with the workers, and these are members of our community. So we enacted another hero pay. We passed through City Council asking for $5 an hour additional just for 4 months till we get out of this period. The markets didn't like that, and they were threatening to close stores if we passed that. And sure enough, Ralph's announced they were closing 3 stores, including this one. The neighbors, they organized this protest and we're here to support them. They don't want their neighborhood market to close.
This community needs this store. Where would they get their produce? Where would they get their milk? It's so many mothers, single parents.
¿Dónde vamos a ir las personas que no tienen carro y luego con esta pandemia? Pienso yo que está mal.
We're trying to make sure that employees aren't laid off, that they get jobs other places. The real goal is to keep it open, and there may be some additional federal funding or state money to give them an incentive to stay, but they really just need to do the right thing.
South LA needs
reach every single grocery store. In fact, we need more grocery stores.
Councilmember Kern Price has been at the forefront of encouraging residents of District 9 to get the COVID-19 vaccine. His frequent partner in these efforts has been the St. John's Well Child and Family Center. They recently teamed up again for a pop-up vaccination event at St. Patrick's Church. Take a look.
We're here at St. Patrick's Church as part of our effort in getting our community vaccinated. We're here in partnership with the St. John Well Center, and individuals will be vaccinated to make sure that they are safe from the coronavirus.
En esta mañana estamos ofreciendo 400 vacunas de Johnson & Johnson a la comunidad. Sabemos que hay desafortunadamente lugares que no ofrecen las vacunas, entonces para mejorar eso estamos trayendo las vacunas a este sitio para que los residentes que son parte de la comunidad de San Patricio tengan la oportunidad de vacunarse.
It's okay to be nervous, it's okay to be scared, but this is about community. This is about taking care of one another.
As I was approaching the lady, I was like, oh my God, like this is actually happening. Like, you know, I was really excited. But most of all, I just wanted to get it over with just because I really want to take care of like my family and stuff.
Esta es una pandemia que está afectándonos a todos, directamente e indirectamente. Entonces es importante que todos nos vacunemos si queremos que esta pandemia llegue al final.
Let's follow the science. Let's take the precautions necessary so that we can all survive. Social distancing is going to continue to be an issue. Wearing a mask is going to continue to be an issue for the short term. But we're in this together, and we have to cooperate and work to make sure we are all safe.
In this week's edition of LA Gives Back, we drop by the weekly grocery giveaway run by Team Cedillo in District 1. They emphasize that the crisis may be close to over, but the road back to normal is still pretty long.
The community coming together in different groups, activating and working together has been the silver lining of this horrible situation that we're starting to come out of. Our chief of staff wanted us to focus throughout this pandemic on basics. So we've been doing food giveaways every week all over our district.
Although the pandemic is getting better and we're moving along because people are getting vaccinated, there's still a lot of people that are facing food insecurity.
Well, we're really excited about partnering with City Council member Gil Cedillo and Kevin De Leon. A lot of our students are in their districts. We're seeing amongst our families a really big need. First, to find out where can I get tested, where do I get vaccinated, but then also, I still don't have a job, I still need food.
If you see what's happening back east, what you're seeing in Europe, you know, that's why the PPE is so important as well as the food, because it's going to be a little while before we're going to be totally back to normal.
Es una aportación muy importante, por ejemplo, para mi familia, que somos 4 miembros. Entonces esta comida me ayuda para hacer en esta semana, ¿verdad? Poner comida en mi mesa, y es una aportación muy importante porque él nos está dejando saber que le importa a la comunidad.
It is exciting to help people with these things that they need as we get closer to hopefully a more normal, you know, Los Angeles.
The Crenshaw YMCA held a community event with Michelson Found Animals. The event provided virtually everything needed for pet owners to keep and care for their furry family members. Check this out.
Today we hosted this event for our pets to basically provide them with everything from vaccinations to spay and neuter to actually getting any kind of other wellness support.
At a place like the YMCA where they're giving to the community and making sure that people are fed, we're trying to do our part and make sure that animals are being fed also, and trying to keep the animals from being surrendered at shelter.
It's important
exciting to be out here in the community and take advantage of the free services that are provided to us, especially in this time.
Es muy importante venir hoy porque la comunidad está prestando servicios como para la limpieza del perro o el bienestar del perro. ¿Cuál de esos es que le van a ofrecer tratamiento para las pulgas, limpieza de oídos, de las uñas y también tengo entendido que van a poner vacunas?
There's so many people out here trying to make sure that we get the right thing done for our babies, their family.
A few years ago, the auto club AAA introduced their Don't Drive Intoxicated campaign. The campaign is an effort to bring awareness to the potentially deadly practice of distracted driving. And now AAA has some help getting their message out. Compliments of the LAPD.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, in 2019, this is the latest data that's available, 3,142 people died in this country as a result of distracted driving. That was an average of 9 deaths per day because of something that is entirely preventable.
So distracted driving is anything that causes you to take your attention, your full attention, off what you're doing when you're driving. So it can be, getting some food out of a container, it can be a text, it can be receiving a phone call, anything that causes you to divert your attention from your job of being a safe driver and being able to react.
The same consequences that we see with alcohol-impaired driving can happen when people are distracted behind the wheel. This is the 4th year of the Auto Club's initiative, Don't Drive Intoxicated, Don't Drive Intoxicated. And the purpose of this initiative is to remind drivers that the consequences of both getting behind the wheel after drinking alcohol and using that smartphone behind the wheel when driving could be the same.
Algo difícil para pasar en este árbol de acá. La verdad que para mí este árbol que estoy viendo acá pasan muchas cosas de tristeza. ¿Por qué digo eso? Me acuerdo de Marlene y Emmy, que aquí se quedó ella.
Texting while driving in particular is a true triple threat because it does take your eyes off of the road, your hands off the steering wheel, and your mind off of what should be the most important task at hand, which is focusing on the road ahead. The Auto Club reminds everybody that there is no text, no email that is worth somebody's life.
If you see somebody that's driving in a dangerous manner, call 911. That's an emergency. The public safety, anything that jeopardizes the public safety is a hazard and is an emergency call.
New street banners spread pandemic awareness in CD9. The LA City Attorney gets behind a high school over a scrap metal issue. And Magic Mountain is closing as a vaccination site. These stories up next on City Beat.
Councilmember Curran Price's initiative to inform neighbors of available COVID-19 resources will have a new look. The new 9th District will soon have a series of informational street banners posted at Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Vermont Avenue, and other major corridors. The banners are a part of the council members' continuing effort to inform residents of the help and services available to combat COVID-19. Information regarding help in the new 9th can also be found by calling 323-846-2651. The Los Angeles City Attorney Mike Feuer is helping Jordan High School with a health and safety issue. Atlas Metals, the scrap metal recycler, shares 2 borders with the school and has long been the source of metal shards launched onto the Jordan High School campus. The city attorney has filed a lawsuit seeking abatement of the nuisance, a permanent injunction, and civil penalties against the business. The high school has had to fence off part of its campus due to the situation. The large-scale Magic Mountain vaccine site will soon be closing. After vaccinating more than 125,000 city and county residents, the amusement park has been given the green light to reopen for business as usual. Sites that will replace Magic Mountain will open at College of the Canyons and the Palmdale Oasis Park Recreation Center. Other county megasites, such as the Pomona Fairplex, the Forum in Inglewood, and Cal State Northridge, are available for vaccines.
Councilmember Bob Blumenfield was joined by LA City engineers to celebrate the completion of the Great Street project in Reseda, and excited residents were also on hand to welcome these long-awaited improvements.
We're here in Reseda this morning to celebrate the completion of the Sherman Way Great Street. This is a wonderful project that really is improving Sherman Way, which is a critical corridor in Reseda. It's going to both create a better sense of place, but also make it a safer area.
This is a really wonderful project. It's a 1 mile long streetscape improvement. You know, a combination of making a community space with street furniture, more trees, better parkways, and improved sidewalks and curb ramps.
It took a planning effort with the community to hear their concerns and to brainstorm together ways that we could help reinvest in Sherman Way.
Este proyecto es básicamente un mejoramiento en las calles de Sherman Way. Y los residentes pueden disfrutar del mejoramiento de este proyecto. Incluso mejoramos varios sidewalks que sea más mejor para las personas que caminan también.
So this is a follow-on. This is a year later, and we're celebrating with the new street sign. We're not riding the bike across each of them, but all of those improvements have now been made.
So this just adds to the district, and it really matters to me that we're, that we're starting to bloom again. That's really what happened.
When a natural disaster strikes, the Los Angeles Emergency Management Department is often the epicenter for information. Channel 35 spoke with 3 key members of that department who gave us insight on their duties.
I am the division chief over the planning division and the community preparedness and engagement division. We review the plans for other city agencies so we can make sure that we are prepared for any disaster that will affect the residents of our city. We help support other city agencies in their response to any event in our city, when currently it's the global pandemic. I think since the time I was a little girl, I always needed to have a purpose and a mission to help others and to support others. And that's kind of been a consistent string throughout my life. It calls to me to be a civil servant. As a woman, we're in an age and an era where we can do anything we want. I'm excited for the young women of today.
As the Public Information Officer for the Emergency Management Department, I am charged with coordinating amongst all the other public information directors and communication staff within the city to create a one-voice messaging platform for the City of Los Angeles, as we cope with emergencies and even prepare for emergencies. Emergency preparedness is so broad, and I think with the pandemic, we've learned that a personal emergency can turn into a larger catastrophic emergency. My main piece of career advice is that anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself.
My role in the city's ability to respond to emergencies is to ensure that people with disabilities are included in the citywide response and planning efforts. My mission in life is to make a difference, and that's what I love about emergency management, that you're in the background and you're able to make some type of difference to someone out there, I get to be that person. And that's what I love about this job.
For all emergency-related information, you can stay up to date by following @ReadyLA on social media platforms. And to obtain emergency alerts, you can register with notifyla.org.
Have you ever heard of a smart bus? A public transportation vehicle that can collect data for more comfortable, efficient rides in the future? A bus that is ecologically responsible? Well, it's here in Los Angeles. Channel 35 got a sneak peek at the direction all LA City buses are headed in by 2028.
If you want motoring for just a penny a mile, you should look to electricity.
The Green New Deal for Los Angeles requires the Los Angeles Department of Transportation to transition to a completely 100% zero-emission fleet by 2028. These buses, first 160 will be the first 160 units of that fleet. Somebody boarding this bus might initially think, oh, it's other than the cool new paint job, it looks pretty much like the same as the other buses. But actually, when you dig into the details, it's a lot different. Rather than an internal combustion diesel burning engine, we have a electric engine, which doesn't have all the moving parts or the pistons or the conduits for cooling agents or belts of a normal engine, and as a result has much less maintenance costs. Every single one of our new buses actually has software installed that essentially makes it a smart bus that gives us information about braking patterns, about where on the road there might be issues, and we can use that for driver training and to improve the overall customer experience. Not only is this bus itself eco-friendly, but every time they ride the bus, they're making a choice that improves the environment. Rather than taking their car, they are reducing traffic and congestion on the roadway, which reduces pollution.
Ask anyone what's the movie-making capital of the world, and they're gonna tell you Hollywood. Well, would you ever have imagined that here in LA we don't even have a motion pictures museum? Fortunately, that's about to change. Check this out.
The Academy Museum of Motion Pictures will be the largest institution in the United States devoted to the arts, sciences, and artists of movie making. Our exhibitions and programs are global in outlook, but they're also grounded in the unparalleled collections of the Academy Museum and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The Academy Museum will finally bring a film museum to this wonderful city of ours, and it will add to the museum's landscape in a way that we don't have yet at this moment in time. We have different wonderful art museums that sometimes embrace artists that work with film and cinema, but our museum will be devoted to the arts and science of cinema, and I think we will have different opportunities to dive deeper into this wonderful field and create a bigger awareness for cinema as an art form. Stories of Cinema is an exhibition that spans over 3 floors at the Academy Museum when we open. It explores the celebratory, complex, diverse, and international stories of movies, movie makers, and the artworks they create. While there is much to celebrate and honor, as we all know, there's also much to contextualize, because there were quite a few less proud moments in the history of cinema as well as in the history of the Academy, and we will really dive into that as well. The museum will open on September 30th of this year, of 2021. We want to welcome visitors from Los Angeles and hopefully soon also from around the world. We hope to inspire discourse, joy, and a sense of discovery with our exhibitions and programs.
We go from celebrating a 21st century museum to a museum that celebrates history from the late 19th century. In our featured story this week, Maria Hall-Brown sits down with Jim Finn of the Los Angeles Fire Department Historical Society to talk about the evolution of firefighting in the city of LA.
I'm delighted to be here at the LA Fire Department Museum, and I am joined by the president of the LA Fire Department Historical Society, retired Captain Jim Finn. Nice to have you with me today.
Thank you, Maria.
And nice to be in such an incredibly rich environment. Well, it's now packed in here.
Yes.
With such an incredible array. So what are some of the most interesting elements that you've been able to glean and bring in here that would fascinate even people who don't know about the fire department?
Well, actually the earliest of our apparatus is a Hayes aerial, and it's from the early 1880s. This aerial ladder that was much improved over what they were using. We have one of the very few, if not the only, existing Hayes aerial left in the world. The steamer that's sitting right behind you is from 1887, the LA Fire Department. That was one of our earliest purchases when we became a paid department.
There's the what, you know, it's visually fascinating, the stories are interesting, the people involved, you know, have a long and interesting story to tell. So there's the what, but there's the why. Why is this place here, and why is it important for, you know, us to know that it's here, and, you know, why should we think about all of these stories and understand the history of the LA Fire Department?
Well, you know, history is obviously very important in whatever walk of life you're in, or just life itself. If you don't know where you're coming from or where you've been, then you really don't know where you're going. And it's kind of funny how this job in particular, the more things change, the more they're the same, it seems like.
Well, if people want to get more information about this museum and when they can come and when it's going to be, you know, more open and it's free, which is the best part.
Right.
What's the best website?
LAFDmuseum.org.
All right. Well, Jim, this has been an ultimate delight, and this is a fascinating place, and I cannot emphasize that you need to get a lot of people in here to support everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Maria. I appreciate you coming.
Take part in the Class Parks Teen Program. Help yourself to free mulch or take a journey through Brazilian music. All this up next on Things to Do.
Attention LA youth. The LA Department of Recreation and Parks is looking for a few good teens. The registration for the Class Parks program is officially open. Take classes on topics from Girl Talk to fitness to finances at rec center locations like Cypress and Green Meadows. Get informed and get a dose of summer fun at the Class Parks Teen Program. Classes run April 19th through June 25th. To register, visit reg.laparks.org. Get a jump on that spring garden with free mulch, compliments of the LA Department of Sanitation. You're invited to visit any of their 10 self-service locations. You can take as much as you need for residential use. Just bring a shovel and your own bag and have at it. To learn more about where to pick up your free mulch, visit lacitysan.org/free mulch. The Los Angeles Public Library would like to invite you to check out their latest installment in their LA Made series. A Journey Through Brazilian Music features Sergio Milnichenko, a longtime radio host of the Brazilian Hour. He will moderate a vibrant concert lecture with Silvia Nicolato, Roberto Montero, and Mika Muti, 3 musicians that bring Brazil's diverse musical traditions to life. A Journey Through Brazilian Music will be streaming on YouTube and Facebook Thursday, April 22nd at 4 p.m. For more information, visit lapl.org/events. And that's a look at some virtual things to do.
And that's it for this edition. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacdv.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.